What did athletes do before sport psychology and sport motivation existed? Today, athletes have access to sport psychologists, mental performance coaches, motivational speakers, mindfulness training, visualization programs, and scientific research designed to help them perform at their best. But what happened before any of these fields existed? How did athletes deal with pressure? How did they recover from devastating losses? How did they build confidence before championship games? The answer may surprise you. Long before sports psychology became an official discipline, athletes were already developing powerful mental skills. They simply used different methods and different language. Many of the techniques that modern sports psychologists teach today were discovered through experience, tradition, military influence, coaching wisdom, religion, philosophy, and personal discipline. The history of mental training in sports stretches back thousands of years. To understand where modern sports psychology came from, we must travel back through time. Before we begin with this awesome video, please don't forget to hit the like bell, subscribe, and leave a comment on what you would like to see next week. If you want to separate yourself from average players, you need a different mindset. Subscribe for daily sports psychology breakdowns. And if you're serious about your growth, check out my basketball motivation journal in the description. Start building your edge today.
If you're locked in on improving your mental game, this journal is for you. Basketball Motivation Journal. Hooper's Inspiration Notebook helps you stay disciplined, focused, and motivated. Available now on Amazon. Link is in the description or just comment. Send me the link and I'll get it to you.
Ancient Greece, the first mental coaches. More than 2,000 years ago, athletes competing in the ancient Olympic Games understood something important. The mind affected performance. Ancient Greek athletes trained their bodies relentlessly, but they also believed mental preparation was essential. Philosophers such as Aristotle and Plato discussed self-control, discipline, focus, and mastery over emotions. Competitors practiced concentration techniques and developed rituals designed to prepare themselves mentally before competition. While they did not have sports psychologists, they understood that fear, confidence, and focus influence performance. Many athletes sought guidance from philosophers and teachers who helped shape their mindset. In many ways, these philosophers served as the earliest mental performance coaches. The warrior influence. For centuries, athletes learned mental toughness from warriors. Military training emphasized courage, resilience, discipline, and composure under pressure. Ancient Roman soldiers trained themselves to remain calm in battle. Japanese samurai practiced meditation and mindfulness centuries before those concepts became popular in sports. Many athletic traditions borrowed directly from military culture. The message was simple: control your emotions, stay focused, never quit, push through adversity. These principles became foundations of athletic culture worldwide. Religion and faith as mental training. Before modern psychology existed, faith often served as an athlete's greatest source of confidence. Athletes prayed before competitions. They attended religious services. They relied on spiritual beliefs to help them handle fear and uncertainty. Faith provided meaning during difficult moments. When athletes experienced setbacks, injuries, or losses, spiritual practices often help them recover emotionally. Many athletes believe their performance was part of a larger purpose. This perspective helped reduce anxiety and increase resilience. Even today, many elite athletes continue to use faith-based practices alongside modern sports psychology. Coaches became the original motivators. Long before motivational speakers filled stadiums, coaches served as the primary source of inspiration. Many legendary coaches understood human psychology without having formal psychological training. They learned through observation. They studied people. They understood motivation. They discovered how to inspire confidence. Some coaches used stories. Others used challenges. Some used encouragement. Others used tough love. The most successful coaches recognized that athletes needed more than physical training. They needed belief. They needed purpose. They needed emotional support. Without realizing it, many coaches were practicing early forms of sports psychology. The rise of self-talk. Athletes have always talked to themselves. Modern sports psychologists call it self-talk. Before the scientific terminology existed, athletes called it determination, grit, confidence, or mental toughness. Boxers repeated phrases before fights. Track athletes reminded themselves to stay relaxed. Baseball players developed mental routines before stepping into the batter's box. Basketball players repeated confidence statements before free throws. These habits emerged naturally. Athletes discovered through experience that what they said to themselves influenced performance. Today, research confirms what generations of athletes learned through trial and error. Thoughts influence emotions. Emotions influence performance. Visualization before science explained it. One of the most fascinating discoveries in sports history is that athletes practiced visualization long before scientists studied it. Many athletes mentally rehearsed success. They imagined winning races. They pictured making game-winning shots. They visualized perfect performances. They simply noticed that imagining success helped them feel prepared. Decades later, sports psychologists began studying visualization scientifically. Research eventually confirmed that mental rehearsal can activate many of the same neural pathways involved in physical performance. What athletes had discovered intuitively was now supported by science. The birth of modern sports psychology. The field of sports psychology officially began developing during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Researchers became interested in understanding how psychological factors affected athletic performance. One of the pioneers was Norman Triplett. In 1898, Triplett conducted one of the earliest studies examining performance and competition. Later, researchers expanded the field. Universities began studying motivation, confidence, anxiety, attention, and learning. By the middle of the 20th century, sports psychology had become a recognized academic discipline. The ideas athletes had been using for centuries were finally being investigated scientifically. What athletes used instead of sports psychology? Before sports psychology existed, athletes relied on coaches, mentors, religious leaders, philosophers, military principles, personal routines, visualization, self-talk, team culture, family support, life experience. None of these methods were called sports psychology, yet many contain the same principles used by modern mental performance experts. What we can learn today. Perhaps the most important lesson is that mental training did not begin when sports psychology was invented. Mental training began when the first athlete experienced fear, pressure, doubt, or adversity and searched for a way to overcome it. Modern sports psychology provides scientific tools and evidence-based methods, but the foundations of confidence, resilience, focus, discipline, and motivation have existed throughout human history. Athletes from every era faced pressure. Athletes from every era experienced failure. Athletes from every era searched for ways to become mentally stronger. The tools have changed. The science has evolved, but the challenge remains the same. Success in sports has always required both a strong body and a strong mind. The greatest athletes of the past may never have heard the term sports psychology, yet many of them practiced its principles every single day. Their stories remind us that mental strength is not a modern invention. It is one of the oldest competitive advantages in human history.